for attending and taking your time today. This is great. Back into the Q&A. All right, so I've got all your questions here. Remember, there's that question panel underneath the webinar software, so just type any questions that you have into that box. I'll get them here, and I'll answer them for you. Now, a couple of things that I forgot to mention inside the inside our event. The referral partners, your referral partners get access to almost the exact same information that we went through today next week. So keep an eye out on your email. I'm going to be sending out the link for you to send to your referral partner so that they get access to this great information next week as well. Back in Q&A. All right, so I've got all your questions here. Remember, there's that question panel underneath. And I apologize. A little bit of technical issue there. My recording worked, so that's good. Everybody's going to get access to that. And I'm sure that's going to be one of the questions that we get, because we get that every month. Are you going to get access to the recordings? Absolutely, you're going to get access to the recordings. Your account manager will be sending those out to you, as well as myself. I'll be sending out a copy of the recordings for you. You'll have limited access to those. Normally we'll keep them up for 2 or 3 days, and then we take them down. So make sure that you watch them when you get them. Like I said at the beginning, you can review all of the information that we went through today and get access to it. So let's get into the actual Q&A now that we're all done housekeeping. Yes, yes, yes. Okay. I have to excuse me here. Okay, so from Linda. Linda asks, I have a Twitter account, but I don't see the screen that you're showing. Linda, difficult for me to answer your question simply because I don't know what screen you're referencing during the presentation. So if you want to ask a follow-up question, I can maybe dive a little bit further into that for you. Up across the top of your Twitter account, there is the menu bar to all of the different options that you have inside your account. So there's the home, all of those different options. So take a look through those, click on each one of them, and maybe that'll get you to the place where you need to go. From Rita. Rita asks, what happens if you send the invite out to all of your contacts, yet some of the people in your contacts are already following you? That's a great question. So Twitter is smart enough to know who is following your account and who isn't. So if you have people within that database that are already following you on Twitter, they won't do anything with them. They won't send them the invite. They won't bother them at all. They just continue to be your Twitter followers. So nothing bad happens with that. You're all good to go. Nothing to worry about there. From a different Rita, that's odd. What happens when you have 2 Twitter accounts, one for personal and one for business? So that's okay if you want to do it that way. My personal recommendation is that you're the same person in your business as you are in your personal life. So I always like to take my social accounts and kind of merge them together and do both my business activities and my personal activities on the same account. My recommendation is that your Twitter should be the same. So you put all your business information and your personal information inside one account. If you so choose to keep those 2 separate, I would take your database of past clients and past customers and upload those to your business account and keep up with them that way. Make sure you put that message out there on your Twitter account before you send the invites out, so that when they get there and they look at all your tweets, they remember to send you business and send you referrals. So if you are going to do it that way, make sure past clients, past customers go to your business account, and then any personal connections that you have that you haven't converted over to the business side yet, those go on your personal account. But if it was me, I would just merge them all into one. That way, it just makes life easier and creates a stronger bond with those past customers. From Moira. Moira asks, can I still get access to the previous webinars on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Google? These webinars and the recordings and the Q&As are very, very valuable. And I think that we just discovered really how valuable they are in today's presentation because we're linking them all together. And we decided not to put that in the promotion, that we were going to walk you through all of the social sites and how to get results with all of them. But doing that sequentially has a lot of power. Your database and all of your connections that we compiled at the first event and then went through actually adding to all of the different sites, they have gotten a notification from you and been in touch with you once a month through a different social service. So what you're doing is actually a little mini launch sequence in your business without knowing it. You're going out and staying in touch with your past customers, not necessarily with a newsletter, but through social communications, letting people know that you want to stay in touch with them. So the value of those webinar recordings is very high. I don't have a price to put on it, but it is a very valuable resource for you to have. Now, in saying that, you have to connect with your account manager at First National in order to get access to that information. I think a pretty please might get you access to them. So reach out, do that. They'll get a hold of me, and I'll make sure that you get access to those recordings. I'm getting a pause on your webinar. I'm hoping you can send a copy of this to my email. Suzanne, I'm sorry for your connection issues. Hopefully it was okay for everybody else out there. You're the first email having problems with it, so it might have been your internet connection. Absolutely, you're going to get an email with the recordings. Keep in mind, that recording is only going to be up for a certain amount of time. Then we're going to be taking them down after that. So make sure you watch it while you have it and when we send the email out. Bernie, same answer to your questions. If you email your account manager, you can get access to all of the previous sessions that we've had before. Okay? Chris, I have 2 Twitter accounts. Can I combine the 2 accounts into one? That's a great question. Kind of ties into the other question that we had earlier. The answer to that is no. We've run into that in the past, and what we had to do was export the contacts, import them into the other account, and then close the other account down. So there's no essentially merge that you can do. We worked with Twitter support on it. They weren't able to get it done for us. So you've actually got to move your contacts from one account into the other account and then close the account that you don't want down. That's how to solve that problem, and I spent hours working on that for somebody else, so you get a nice simple answer here during the Q&A. Wow, okay. From Steve. Steve has a little bit of a lengthy question here. I'll get through this as quick as I possibly can. The first part to the question, very pointed and a great question. What is the primary benefit of using Twitter? Okay, so basically the question is, what's the primary benefit of using Twitter, and if I was to start again in the mortgage industry at 0, what would I do on Twitter first? And it's a great question. So the lead generation cards are a favorite of mine. I absolutely love them because it's direct response advertising that we can give to somebody that's interested in mortgages and real estate right now. They're active in the marketplace, they want to make a decision, and them becoming a lead through one of those Twitter cards gives us the opportunity to convert that person into a customer. That's something that I enjoy doing. I enjoy lead follow-up and sequencing, and that's kind of my thing. I really enjoy that. So that would be the first thing that I would do. I would use those lead generation cards just like you saw, and I would set up direct lead generation. The second thing that I would do is I would activate my database. And I would get my database not only on Twitter. on Twitter, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, all of this Google Plus, all the services that we've gone through in these training events for you, I would connect with my database on each one, because each client that you have in that past client database, or in your network of people that you know, they don't even have to be a past client, each one is going to use a different service. Some people, you know, they might be a Google employee or whatever, but they're on Google Plus, right? Sorry, that was a nerd joke. But then you're going to have your business professionals that are on LinkedIn. You're going to have a lot of people that are on Facebook, and then you're going to have some people that are just die-hard Twitter users. As you go through and invite your database to all those services, you're going to end up with certain segments of your database on each service. So I would take my database, invite them into Twitter, make sure I've got that core message out there, letting them know that I'm looking for them to send me referrals. Then continually posting good information to connect with those people and remind them that I'm in the business and I'm looking for their referrals, building that value. And obviously following up with those leads that come through the lead generation cards, right? It's a great way to do that. Now, another piece of information that you should know about those Twitter lead generation cards. If you're going through and you've never run an advertisement on Twitter before and you're setting up your first ad on Twitter, make sure that at the bottom of the page they have a contact us link down there at the bottom. Click on that link and send an email to Twitter support. They've gotten very serious about the Canadian market, like the statistic that we saw at the beginning of the event today. Canada is becoming a powerhouse on Twitter. They've taken notice, and they have staff here to help us as business owners work and leverage Twitter. So when you're running your ad, contact them. Tell them, I'm a mortgage broker, I'm in the mortgage business, and I'm looking to set up an advertising account. They'll put you in touch with a specific support form, essentially, to help you with it. You need to let them know that you're running ads that relate to financial services that aren't stock related or whatever. The only reason that I mention this is because I ran into them declining my ads. I sent in a support ticket and they said, "Oh, you're in the mortgage world. You have to let us know that you're going to be running mortgage ads. We just thought they were about something else." So when you're running those lead generation cards, make sure you reach out and just let them know that you're in the mortgage industry and what you're doing. You may not run into an issue, but if you do, I'm just trying to save you some hassle in running those. So that is the answer to your question, Steve, and thank you for a great question. Okay, Chris, I noticed that you didn't mention lists. Is it not a good strategy? So great question, and that's from Frank. So Frank, there's only so much that we can fit into a half hour of training. And I really hope that you enjoyed the stuff that I did pick to put into the presentation for you today. Lists are an excellent resource on Twitter. For those of you out there that don't know what a Twitter list is, it's essentially a way for you to segment the information that comes through your Twitter feed. So if you want to just follow real estate information, you can create a list, name it real estate, and then all of the associated Twitter feeds that relate to real estate go in that list. Same thing if I wanted to set one up for beekeeping, right? Set up a beekeeping list on Twitter and all the beekeeping information comes through that. So it's a great way for you to segment the data and segment the information that you're looking for. I personally use lists to put my referral partners in so that I can very easily log into Twitter, look at what my referral partners are doing, and check all their information really quickly. And then it's very easy for me to do retweet, favorite, do all of those things in a very short period of time. It doesn't take me too long. Okay, so that's what I use lists for, and thank you for noticing and mentioning. Wow, we have got a ton of questions here. Kamal, is there a replay? Yes. As we said before, go ahead and contact your First National account representative and let them know how much you love these presentations and that you would like a copy of the recording. From Elise. Elise is saying, can you provide the wording for the initial tweet that you send out? Again, Elise, if you follow my Twitter account at CWJStone, stands for Christopher William Johnstone, CWJStone, I will tweet that out after the event so that you get the copy on it. I would have to reopen my slides, go all the way back. It would just take too much time. So just watch my Twitter account, and I'll post that out after the event. From Marion, what is the average price for each lead in the lead generation? Fantastic question. So it depends per marketplace. The major city centers, the cost per lead is a little bit more than it is in the more rural markets. That being said, I don't want to step on anybody's toes here, but I have noticed in running Twitter ads that the longer I run my ads, the lower I can get my cost per lead. So my recommendation to you is when you're putting those ads together, Twitter is going to give you a range of what they think you're going to pay per lead at the very beginning. Take that and put your bid right in the middle. Whatever the numbers are, everybody's numbers are going to be different, right? Take that number, bid right into the center of it. Then every week, decrease that bid by 25 or 50 cents and watch your traffic rates. You'll get to a point where your traffic disappears. They won't run your ads at all. Bump your cost per lead back up 25 to 50 cents from that point, and you've basically optimized to the lowest cost leads that you can get in your marketplace from your Twitter advertising. Very similar bidding strategy to what we do on Google AdWords and what we do on Facebook ads as well. A great question, by the way. Thank you very much. From Peter, great presentation. I really appreciate it. Thank you, Peter. Thank you for your time. I know how busy you are out there. So thanks for attending. Wow. Everybody wants a recording. Absolutely. From Mike. Mike asks, can the leads be localized to my area on lead generation cards? Phenomenal question. So you can't localize the leads on Twitter by city yet. You can only localize by province. That's why in the advertisement that I wrote, that the ad calls out the city name where they're interested in real estate and mortgages. So I actually use the hashtag city name. That's why I did that, because our advertisements have to go across the entire province, but our tweet calls out the specific marketplace and person that we want. Again, just to be completely candid, Twitter's advertising interface is not advanced yet. They're a year at least behind where Facebook ads are. And to get rid of that, that's how we do it. We use the hashtag in the tweet to tell people where they have to be to respond to our offer. It's what we used to have to do with our Facebook ads. And over time, it will get better. I can tell you, implementing the information that you got on today's webinar is going to put you ahead of a large majority of people that have no idea how to generate leads on Twitter. And those lead cards are a phenomenal way to make it really easy to generate leads. They work really well, and very few people in the Canadian industry are actually taking advantage of it. And I think it's a great value add for First National to put us together and give you this information, because as far as I know, there's nobody else teaching this stuff, especially at the high level of lead generation cards for you. So I don't know, that sounds weird. It sounds like I'm bragging. I don't mean to. It's just, it's the fact that not a lot of people are doing it, and it's a great opportunity. So, from Judy. Judy asks, is there any amount of Twitter time that must be spent in order to be effective? One webinar I was on suggested that I had to be tweeting all day long. Not going to happen with my work life. Absolutely, Judy. I prescribe to something that's different than a lot of the social media trainers that are out there. Much like yourselves, I run a small business, right? I'm in my business every day working really hard, and I don't have time to spend hours a day on social media. I use a lot of automated tools to automate what we do so that I can work on my business. So my recommendation for you is the same thing that I do. I time chunk. So all of my content that I am distributing and putting into social media is pre-planned. And I either do that Sunday night, or now that my wife and I have a lovely new baby at home, Sunday nights are off the grid. So Monday mornings, I now schedule all of my social media content. I sit down, I time chunk half an hour, and it's my job in that half an hour to get all of the content put together. I put it into Hootsuite, and Hootsuite manages posting it out on my LinkedIn account, my Google Plus account, and my Twitter account. I schedule all of my Facebook posts within Facebook. Studies have shown that if you use a third-party tool to schedule those, your reach is diminished. So I publish everything on Facebook specifically. So my recommendation to you for content for all of your social media, when you get started, book an hour of time. 1 hour per week, that should be enough for all of your content. Then I have a 15-minute block every day where I have a timer that goes off, and I go in and I respond to direct messages. I respond to leads that we've generated in the business that we've forwarded over to people to follow up with them. Hey, just making sure you got this lead. Looking to get together for an appointment so we can discuss. All those sorts of things. That's all done with a 15-minute time block. Basically at the end of the day, around 5 o'clock, I've got that time, 15 minutes. I clean out all of the inboxes on all of my social media accounts, and I'm done. So you should be an hour at the beginning of the week to pre-schedule all your content, 15 minutes a day just to check and make sure that that you're responding to messages, and that's the way that I do it. I know people in Twitter, it's an immediate, instant thing. You know, we're not running a big national company that needs to have immediate customer response on Twitter to people that are, you know, angry about, you know, their running shoes or whatever. 15 minutes a day is more than enough for us here in our business for what we need it for. So hopefully you find that helpful and a lot less overwhelming than all of the time, right? Awesome. So we're coming up to 2:54, so we'll take a couple more of these questions. If I don't get to your question, I will email you the answer to your question, okay? So, from Chandresh asks, do I need a separate account for ads.twitter.com? The answer to that is no. You sign into ads.twitter.com using your regular Twitter account. Great question. From Lori, how to separate personal and professional pages, Twitter, Facebook, etc. What info is private and what is public on these sites? So, Lori, again, a good word of, or a rule of thumb, I should say, don't post anything on social media that you're not comfortable having everybody see. Even if it's a private message, a direct message, it's just a good idea not to post anything on social media that you wouldn't be able to stand behind publicly, right? From a business versus personal standpoint, I'm a believer that my business pages are for lead generation and for building value in the marketplace and giving people good information. Once somebody becomes a client and a customer, I move them over to my personal accounts where we start a personal relationship once we've done business together. That's how I run it in my business and how I recommend you do it in yours, but everybody finds their own level of comfort within social media. As far as what's private and what's public, consider pretty much everything that you do on Twitter to be public, but direct messages from user to user are private. You can have that direct one-to-one communication, but just a word of caution, nothing is ever really private. You know, people can take screenshots and then repost it out. Just beware. That's all. That's kind of a weird question. Okay. From Elwin. Elwin asks, how to control where Twitter geographically sends leads based on your budgeting. Okay, so Elwin, when you're going through and you're doing your advertising settings, there's an area that says locations. Start typing in the location that you want to target, and Twitter will pull up a pre-populated list of the different areas. If the city that you're looking for isn't in there, they don't have it yet, and you've got to go by province. So that is how you control where Twitter shows your advertisements. Again, use the hashtag of the city in the tweet that you're using as an advertisement, and that will help more specifically geo-target the location, okay? Oh, wow. So this is a question from Frank. And Frank, right at the end with one of our last questions, you hit a nerve with me. And so I will keep this as concise as possible. And it says, I know professionals that have used ads on Facebook and Twitter and found it to be a waste of money. Is there a way of qualifying the leads rather than paying for looky-loo time wasters? The answer to that question is no. In the internet marketing space, there are two styles and quality of leads that you're going to bring through your funnel. One is a direct referral from a testimonial that you get or somebody that is referring your business to somebody that they know, a friend, a colleague, somebody. They are referring your business digitally through social media. It happens every day. It's one of the strongest connections and business builders that you can leverage in today's world. Those online digital testimonials and referrals have been proven now that they're stronger than an actual one-to-one personal, hey, you need to go use Chris for his mortgage. Here's his business card. If you can get that referral through social media, it's actually a stronger bond with that client. Those are amazing, amazing deals. If you're running ads to cold traffic in a cold market, you can't get rid of the looky-loos and the time wasters. The only thing that you can do to filter those people through their funnel is set up a system that filters them for you by sending them emails and communication and phone calls to process those leads through the funnel and essentially cherry pick. The thing about online leads that gets me so riled up is that because we can generate them through Twitter and through Facebook and in some cases Google, they're so cost effective that you can process a nice volume of leads through your business and still make an incredible ROI on your investment, but people focus on the wrong number. Let's say, just for example's sake, you run an online lead funnel through Facebook or Twitter, right, with people requesting a pre-approval, and you only have a 10% success rate. That means that 90% of the leads are bad, they're garbage, right? To most of us, that's like, oh man, what a waste, 90% waste, 90% of the people didn't do business with me. Wait. You built a database of those 90% of people that eventually may purchase from you. And the 10% that you closed right away, you have to calculate your return on investment. How much did you spend in traffic? How much did it cost to convert those people into customers? And how much money did you make on the transactions? Figure those numbers out. And when you do, the return on investment from online marketing can be phenomenal. The thing that you have to value is your time. How much time am I willing into threading through the 90% of the bad stuff to get the 10% of the good stuff? And that's a phenomenal lead-in to next month's webinar. I'm going to show you how to run an ad online, bring in a mortgage customer, and then put them through a sequential process to bring the cream to the top so that you don't have to waste your time with all of the, I don't want to call them garbage leads because looky-loos. We'll use your words. So the looky-loo leads, how to make sure that you don't waste your time dealing with those people. Next month's event, you're absolutely going to love. I'm really, really excited to teach it to you. And get on next month's webinar. It's going to be phenomenal. I'm really looking forward to presenting it to you. It's 3:01. We've still got a couple of questions here. So for those of you that I haven't been able to answer your question, I will email you the answer. You will get an answer to your question. So with that, we're going to wrap up the Q&A. Again, a huge thank you to First National Financial for putting us together and for sponsoring this event and leading the industry. There's been some phenomenal news about First National in the news. If you haven't heard, go Google some of the news about First National. They've hit some great records And I won't go on and on about it. But to me and my family, to you and your family there, much love. I'm really looking forward to seeing you next month. And I would love a comment to let you know how it goes when you implement what you learned on this month's webinar. Talk to you soon, everybody.